really, really excited to introduce you to Candace Janae. She's the founder of Epic Fab Girl, and she's an incredible entrepreneur. So I'm so happy she's here. Candace, thank you for joining us.
Emily, thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy working with you. Thanks.
Awesome. So why don't we get started with you telling us just a little bit more about yourself and what you've been working on?
Sure. So my name is Candace Janae, and I am from Chicago. I am a full-time entrepreneur. I have a brand called Epic Fab Girl, and we are a community for faith-based, career-minded women entrepreneurs and influencers. I started it as a blog back in 2016 while I was still working full-time in corporate America, and then made a decision back in 2017 to leave my corporate job and really help impact the lives of other people. And I started to grow Epic Fab Girl into more of a business. And now I am working on our Go Getter conference, which is coming up actually next month, but really excited to partner with Thinkific this month for Go Getter Confidential, which is really just a summit helping women learn how to build their brands and get more exposure for their businesses and learn how to bring their businesses online and generate more money for that. So that's really exciting. Personally, I am an Instagram brand strategist. So I have a brand strategy company where I basically help women turn their ideas into businesses and generate revenue consistently using Instagram. So that is the short version of what I do and how I help women. But I'm a full-time entrepreneur out of Chicago.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's dive into it a little bit more. You said that you're an Instagram strategist, and I know you have so much knowledge there to share with the audience. So why don't we dive in and you can teach us a little bit more about Instagram as a platform, why it's great, and what the potential there is for you.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen. And so typically, like I said, I typically speak across the country and across the globe about Instagram marketing, particularly for small business. So I like to kind of shift mindsets and get you guys engaged as well. So first, I want to take a look at this first image that was posted to Instagram from this account, Kenzie the Cavapoo. And if you just look at this and ask yourself, what do you think they're doing really well? Because clearly the engagement on this photo is really great, right? So Kenzie the Cavapoo is clearly an account for this cute little dog. But one of the things that I really like that they do in this post is they post an image that is actually really clear and it's super adorable when you look at it. And if you look at the caption, you might not be able to see it, but I'll read it for you. It says hashtag TBT to when I was a tiny 10-week-old nugget. And then it has these cute little heart emojis. And I love it because it's a dog, but they're using this brand voice for this dog. And it clearly gets the engagement that they were looking for because it had over 6,000 likes. So a couple of things that this account does really well is just aligning content that is actually relevant to the audience that they're finding. So just to take a look at that, I just wanted to point out a few things that this particular account did well. I usually like to tell you a little bit more about myself, but since we already got through that, I'll highlight two things. One, I'm a super nerd, so I used to study mechanical engineering and then shifted my career into like marketing. And then I worked with kind of global brands on their digital marketing strategies. So that's kind of where I've learned and grown this kind of desire to help understand how people interact with technology, basically. So this is actually one of the cool features that you can explore as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. When you're actually at events, you can pull up your phone, click the link. There's not a link in your bio, but on your profile, there's a menu there that you can click name tag and literally just scan this name tag. I just have this here so that you guys can check me out on Instagram. And this is a feature that you can actually utilize on your account when you're meeting other people in person. So let's talk about why Instagram, why I even care about Instagram, and why it matters to entrepreneurs like yourself, right? So for small business, it's extremely important because number one, 1 billion, there's 1 billion active monthly users on Instagram. That's a lot of people. That's that's a lot of people. And I think sometimes we forget how far off a billion is from a million, but that's a lot of people that are going to their phones every single day and checking Instagram. And 80% of users actually follow a business. So there's a myth that I hear often is that, you know, people don't necessarily think that users are following businesses, and the reality is most users are following a business on Instagram. So they're not just interested in influencers, they're also interested in your business. So the other thing is that 80% of influencers prefer Instagram for brand collaboration. So this is a really great platform for you to spread the word about what you're doing as an entrepreneur, especially if you're connecting with other influencers that have the power to spread your message to the masses. So Instagram is one of my favorite tools. And I love it because, you know, Instagram said, or this statistic even shows that 60% of adults use Instagram at least one time a day. So literally that means that there's more, uh, there are more users that are still even not just using it once a day, but there are people that are getting on Instagram multiple times throughout their day. So this is a great place for you to put your message and get it to the masses. Now, I know you guys are probably frustrated because I know we all get frustrated with Instagram and the algorithm, but Instagram is a saturated platform, like point blank, period. There's so many different people that are on Instagram, whether it's influencers, brands, you know, celebrities, they all are on Instagram. And you have over 95 million posts that are actually shared on Instagram daily. That's a lot of posts in a single day. And I know it's really easy to get frustrated with the algorithm, but if you think about it in a different way, Instagram is just really helping you, the people who create really great content, rise to the top. So they're kind of doing you a favor if you're actually putting out content that is relevant to your audience. And Instagram really just created their algorithm so that they can better present your content to people who actually want to see it. So even though there's only there that even though almost 70% of Instagram posts don't get seen because of the algorithm, the cool thing is that you can actually learn how to stand out and be successful with a strategy on Instagram. Yes, it's saturated, but you need to learn how to kind of rise to the top. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Instagram marketing specifically for small businesses. So I'm going to share just 5 tips that I think are really relevant for small businesses, and with hopes that you can apply this to your business and marketing strategy as well. So I'm going to start with the basics. So Instagram, when it first came out, it was made for mobile. And the thing is, Instagram is still made for mobile. If you look at anything like most technologies and apps that are online, it's all most of them are accessed from mobile. People are no longer accessing content from desktops. So you want to keep this in mind when you're posting your content on Instagram. And you want to make sure that you remember that, you know, if you're posting pictures, they should be clear. They should be in good lighting. And, you know, your text or your copy that you're putting on maybe graphics, it should be clear because that's the first thing that people often see. And then they see the caption. The aesthetic also matters. If you look at our profile for Epic Fab Girl, we have a ton of pinks. We have bright pictures. We sometimes even post pictures, as you can see at the bottom of there, about like weddings. So we're posting content that's relevant to our particular audience. Now, our audience for Epic Fab Girl are women of color that are millennials, between the ages, so millennials and up to the age of around like 45. So we're posting content that's relevant to them, but it's for women. So that's why you see a lot of pinks, a lot of, you know, colors that are appealing to that particular audience. But the cool thing is, you know, even if you don't have like a super girly brand like Epic Fab Girl has, you just want to make sure that your aesthetic appeals to the audience that you are trying to attract. So if you have a tractor company and, you know, maybe you want to focus on people that are maybe interested in agriculture, right? So the color scheme may be different. You may use greens and more earthy tones, but you want to make sure that whatever you're putting out there is relevant to the audience that you're trying to draw in. And then consistency absolutely matters. I think that people forget sometimes that Instagram is a tool for marketing and it's content marketing. So you're using your content to draw people in, and consistency matters. So I think of it a lot of times how, maybe, for example, large brands like fast food companies where you may see, like, for example, McDonald's may have a billboard that you see something, but then you go into their store and you also see a billboard that aligns with that same thing. And then you may see an ad online that has that same exact message. They're putting that same message throughout different places because it's a full campaign. And when you think about Instagram, you want to think about it in that same way, that it like when you're putting out content, that it's still a marketing campaign. So sometimes putting out content one time isn't enough. So you have to think about creative ways to consistently show up on Instagram to share the same message. And when you're sharing your message, you want to make sure that you're always adding value. And that's why people keep coming back for your content. Okay. So the second piece is to optimize your bio and your profile. And this is one of the things that I think a lot of business owners, especially when they're first getting started, aren't that great at, to be quite honest. And I typically coach my clients through how to clearly state what their message is, clearly state what their goal is, and how to best present it to the audience that they are trying to appeal. And I've even seen even larger businesses that could, clean up their Instagram profile and see a shift just by way of clearly communicating your message in your Instagram bio. So in this particular example, I use Fashion Nova. One of the things is that you want to name for SEO. So Instagram is still kind of a search engine, right? So when you're looking for different things on Instagram, I know for myself, I'm a millennial. When I'm searching for something like, let's say I want a new hairstylist, I'm going to go search hashtags, or I'm going to go start searching Instagram for the relevant people that I want to find. So you want to make sure that your name, where you see right here where it says fashionnova.com, that is your name. Or your title for your page. And you can change that. So my current profile says Candace, Instagram brand strategist, so that if people are searching brand strategist or Instagram, they can find my name and I'll pop up in that search. So optimize your bio and your profile. You want your bio to be extremely clear. You want to answer the questions of what do you do, who do you do it for, and include any clickable links that may be relevant to your audience. So if you have a branded hashtag, so for example, Fashion Nova has hashtag NovaBabe, just having those hashtags that are there that are relevant to get people to engage with your profile. And it shows them that what they can expect when they first come to your page. They make a decision in a split second whether or not they'll follow you or stay around or exit your page. So that's why the bio is extremely important. Making sure that you're using story highlights, your location, and email, and that's really important from an Instagram perspective because people are always trying to find brands online. So when they're trying to find brands via Instagram, you want to make sure that you actually have contact information and even where you guys are located online in your Instagram profile so that people can better connect with you. My third tip is just really posting what I call dope content. So that's content that is authentic, relevant, and transformational. One of the things I teach my clients is to create transformational content. And when I say transformational, I mean there should be a shift in their behavior, there should be a shift in their mindset, and even funny content can be transformational because if you see funny content come across your timeline, you weren't laughing before, but now you're laughing. So that's some sort of transformation. You're bringing some level of joy or inspiration. So like looking at this image here, you may say, ooh, I think I should pair, maybe a silver dress with, these gray heels, or be inspired or feel like, oh, wow, I should absolutely engage, like this photo, or Maybe shop on their site and be reminded that, hey, like they actually have something that I would actually want to purchase. So you want to do that, and you want to do it consistently, like I said, because it is a campaign. Like you're using Instagram as a tool to basically spread your message more consistently. And especially since, your post may not be getting shown to every single person, that's why it matters to have consistent relevant content up there, especially because Instagram does not have a chronological feed, and it shows your content based on not just recency, but it shows your content based on how many people are actually engaging with it. So some of the types of content that perform really well are inspirational quotes. So making sure that you're, using inspirational quotes if it's relevant to your brand and to your audience. Also having human faces in the mix. So let's say, you are a coffee company and you have like coffee. Always taking a picture of the coffee may not necessarily be the best bet. Oftentimes people like to see coffee or the product in relationship with people. So like they want to see someone holding the coffee cup, or they want to see someone interacting with it. So human faces really work really well when you're putting out content. Another thing is scenery. That's why people love travel content, because it just looks beautiful. It inspires you. You're like, oh my God, I want to go too. So scenery works really well. Food always works, but in the same way that you want to make sure that you have good lighting on your pictures and in faces, with faces, you want to make sure that you have good lighting for food. And then this is another really big thing, is user-generated content. And user-generated content really is content that your actual customers are, posting. So if you have a product or something that, that your users are posting online about, reposting their content not only brings it helps your followers to see themselves in the shoes of your actual customers, but it also helps spread the word about what you're doing and creates a buzz. So if you have a branded hashtag, getting someone to say, hey, hashtag, whatever your branded hashtag is, really just creating a buzz, because more people are going to be putting content up online in hopes that they'll be featured on your account. So that's a really cool way to spread your message and put out dope content. Animals, as we saw the cute little dog earlier, and behind the scenes. So what are the behind the scenes of your business? A lot of times people actually want to see that. And so that is the last piece about creating dope content for your profile. Now, step number 4 is really just having a hashtag strategy. So, I know a lot of times, I remember when hashtags first came out, I like never used them on my photos. And then once I started using hashtags on my photos, I really started to see a transformation and a shift, because hashtags are the way that people are able to find your content. So you want to make sure that you're thinking in the same line or mindset as your audience, right? So think about the person that you're trying to draw in. What are they going to be searching for when they are looking for your content, or when they may come across your profile? The good thing with hashtags is that posts with at least one hashtag have 12% more engagement than those without. There are so many other statistics about hashtags and the use of hashtags that are far too many to share. But here's what you need to know. When you're posting content and using hashtags, you need to make sure that your hashtags are actually relevant to that photo. And if the hashtags are not relevant to the photo, they're going to perform worse. So putting random hashtags that a lot of people follow may not necessarily be the best strategy. You may want to think more in depth about what types of things your audience would be searching for when they're going online on Instagram to search for content. And you want to use that so that your profile or your picture and your content can show up on their feed. One of the really cool features that Instagram released a couple of years ago was the ability for users to actually follow hashtags. And I really believe that was a game changer for Instagram for business, really, because you're able to come across content of profiles that you've never seen before. So really make sure that you're thoughtful about using hashtags, because it's going to help you get your content in front of more people. And the other thing is that hashtags, there's a max of 30 hashtags that you can use per photo. And I like to use a mix of what I call small, medium, and large. So if you look at the image on the right, at the top, you'll see where it says travel, but then it has the number of posts that hashtag had been used for, or how many times that hashtag had been used. So I like to use a mix of, large, small, and medium, so that I can get a really good mix of, exposure across multiple hashtags. And number 5. So this is a piece about actually helping to convert your followers into clients, right? So a lot of people think that, it's enough to just post on Instagram. And that is enough sometimes, depending on the type of content, or if you're in retail or fashion, fast fashion, that works really well if you don't have call to actions. But still, you want to make sure that you're using some sort of call to action. So when you're posting, saying either click the link in my bio, or, if there's a 20% off discount code that maybe expires in a couple of days, making sure that you're including that detail in the caption early on, so that you're giving the person that sees your content actual, an incentive or a reason to move on it now. I like to talk about urgency all the time when it comes to marketing. Macy's is a really big company that I've always remembered. Just in Chicago, growing up in Chicago, my mom would be like, we have to get to Macy's. We need to get to Macy's by, Friday, because the sale ends. And I'm like, okay, but it's Tuesday. Can we go today? I don't understand. But there's something about creating urgency and setting deadlines when you have, marketing campaigns. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people do wait until the last minute, but you have to give them deadlines so that they can work against it. So making sure that you're having a very clear call to action. And if you have a lead magnet, this is a really great way to grow your email list, making sure you're adding something of value by saying, hey, click the link in my bio or swipe up. You have to tell people to do stuff. You can't just expect them to take action without telling them to take action. And the third piece of that is just asking them to purchase or for a call. So one of the things that you may see pop up often on especially with Facebook is messenger bots, and it works really well because it's more personable. But I even challenge you guys to figure out ways to better communicate on Instagram with people that are already following you. So one of the big changes in my business was when I started to really focus on the people that were actually following my profile. And I would engage with them by responding to their comments or asking them hey, have you signed up yet? Do you have any questions? Really just connecting with your audience and, asking them hey, let's schedule a call, and, making that decision to actually engage with them. Now, I know people use bots for Instagram as well. And if that's something that you want to do for your business, that is up to you. But the key thing here is to make sure that you're actually engaging with the people that are actually engaging with you, so that you can make sure that you actually convert them into a paying customer. So after you've put out your content, you want to make sure that you figure out what's the next step. So here's the content, but you have to ask them. And then you want to make sure that you're presenting an offer to them, right? So for me, with my business, a lot of times, because I work with so many women entrepreneurs that have really big, grandiose dreams, but don't really necessarily have a clear offer. You want to just make sure that you're clear on what you're offering so that it can be a yes or no decision when you present it to your audience. So that's really the key to getting Instagram followers into paying customers, is you're bringing them either on your email list, or you're asking them up front if they want to purchase or if they want to engage. But most of the time, you want to make sure that you're, building a relationship before you ask someone to actually purchase something from you. Okay. So those are my super quick, short, and I'm really long-winded, so that probably was not short, but those are my 5 tips for business. And if you guys have any questions, I'm not sure for those who may be live, if you guys have any questions. But that's all I've got for you guys today. I really hope that what I taught today will help you start to generate more buzz around what you're doing and, help you get your message to the masses.
Much, Candace. I know I have a question because a lot of the people in our audience are obviously online course creators. And so I'd love to hear a little bit more about how this is relevant or how it really connects to somebody who's working through creating their first online course.
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, when you think about your online course, is your offer, right? So that is the package that you want to sell, right? And what you do when you're on Instagram is really creating buzz around what you're doing. So you can do one of two things. You can make the decision to really openly promote that your course online. Like, so let's say if you have a membership platform or an online course, you can start to kind of talk about that online, creating content around that, and then maybe having a lead magnet or a freebie. So let's say your course is about how to apply nail polish, right? And maybe how to apply nail polish, right? And maybe you have a lead magnet that says, that's like a checklist for, all the steps that you need to walk through to apply nail polish the right way, right? So you're basically creating a lead magnet or something that's free that's going to help that your audience understand the value that you bring to the table. So let's say you post an image of you and your nail polish and you're like, hey, look at this cute nail polish that I have today. And, click the link in my bio to get a checklist on all the steps that I take to make sure that I apply my nail polish the right way. And now, once they download that free lead magnet, they're able to, yes, so they're actually able to get that freebie, and then you're drawing them into your email list. And on your email list is where you're going to do maybe you've built out a funnel, or maybe you have an application process for your program. That's one really good way. And then another way that I see a lot of my clients launch their online courses or their online programs is they host webinars, or they host, evergreen webinars. So they're still getting people to their free webinar, and their webinar is their lead magnet that ends up actually closing out, or that helps them to close out that interested customer.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And we have another question. Somebody's wondering a little bit more about how the swipe up feature works on Instagram.
Yes. So the swipe up feature, I love it. And I wish I don't currently have the swipe up feature. I'm like 500 followers away from having it. But, in the swipe up feature is basically whenever in Instagram stories, whenever you see like influencers or businesses have the swipe up feature, they'll be able to swipe up and direct them directly to a link. So currently that feature is only available for accounts that have more than 10,000 followers or have blue verified Instagram accounts. And so that's why a lot of influencers try to reach that 10,000 follower mark so that they can be able to use that feature. But I love that because it helps make it easier for your followers to actually take action on your call to actions versus going through, going back to your profile, clicking the link in the bio, and then finding the right link, and then filling out the information that they want to put in. Instead, you can just swipe up directly where they're at and get the content that they want, or the freebie that they want from there.
Awesome. So if we don't have any more questions, what I'd love to hear is a little bit more about your upcoming events, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more about Go Getter Confidential.
Awesome. Yes. So our upcoming event, so we have our Go Getter Conference, which is happening in Chicago, September 20th through the 22nd. And it's really just a conference to help women not just be inspired, but learn the tools that they need to get to their next level. When I graduated from undergrad, I actually had a hair extensions company that I started back in 2012. And I graduated in 2014. And by the time I graduated, I kept trying to find spaces for women that were like women empowerment spaces. And I heard all these phenomenal stories of women, and it was really inspiring. But I honestly walked away feeling like, okay, what do I do next? Like, how do I get to the level of success that I've seen these women, reach? And so I made a decision that I wanted to start hosting events that were focused on actually teaching women how to get to their next level. And that's one of the reasons I even started Epic Fab Girl. So Go Getter Conference is a 3-day event in Chicago that will basically help you learn how to build your business. So we're talking about everything from social media marketing to branding to how to raise capital for your business. And Go Getter Confidential is really just a preview of that. So Go Getter Confidential actually launched today. And it's a 3-day online summit that's specifically focused on digital entrepreneurship. So helping women learn how to make money online in this online world. I know for me, as someone who actually studied business from a top university, I didn't know any of this stuff when I was coming out of business school. I have an entire business degree, but like I was so confused, had no idea what to do in the digital entrepreneurship world. And so this particular summit is going to talk about everything from content creation to learning how to have a aesthetically, visually pleasing brand, how to generate income in multiple streams of income online and not just, offline. So really helping share the stories of these women who have successfully done it. And I'm just really excited about the opportunity to give women the tools and resources they need to build their brands and businesses.
Very exciting. I'm super excited about this conference. I know you've got one of our partners, Zaylee Barclay, on the lineup. So shout out to Zaylee.
Yes, he's amazing.
Yeah, really, all of the speakers are amazing, and you've done such a great job at bringing some incredible women to the forefront. So congratulations. I'm excited to see how it all plays out. Where can people register for this event? And then where can people connect with you if they'd like to learn more from you?
Sure. So to register for Go Getter Confidential, you can head over to gogetterconference.com/digital. And to connect with me or Epic Fab Girl, you can connect on Instagram. That's our favorite platform. It's Epic Fab Girl or just Candace Janae, and it's spelled just the way you see it. Candace, CandaceJunee. But that's the best way to connect with us. But once you sign up for, this digital summit, you are able to just really kind of be a part of our community as well. So that's a great way to connect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you. I know you're super busy because this is just launching today, so I can imagine you have lots to do. So thank you so, so much for making time to share a little bit more about Instagram marketing for small business, a little bit more about Go Getter Confidential, which is a totally free digital event that you guys should all go sign up for and check it out. And then if you guys have any other questions, make sure you drop them in the comments. Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, bye.